Hi, I'm Sophie,
Hi, I'm Paul.
and we are SP film viewers. So today it's going to be a little bit different on the SP film viewing, as it is actually a film I have already seen. However, Paul has not seen it, so he will be doing more of the critiquing.
That's one way of putting it, yeah.
So the film that I have seen before is Aladdin. So I'm not saying that Paul hasn't seen the original Aladdin film, because he has. However, they've done a remake in 2019, which instead of Robin Williams being the genie, it is Will Smith, which is obviously one of those kind of you're going to love it or hate it, I think, scenarios with a lot of people. So what was your thoughts on this?
Well, first thing to point out that you'd seen this while you were on a business trip.
Yeah, so it was on a business trip while we were away, and obviously to fill your weekends, that was out in the cinema at the time. And I did actually pay money to go.
Yes, you funded this corporate greed of Disney.
To go and see it. Don't get me wrong, I love a Disney, I do. I don't mind when they're remaking it. It does get me on my nerves when it's exactly the same, and they've just redone it in a better quality or having human characters. That frustrates me. I like that it has a twist.
Okay, right off the bat, did you feel you got something out of this that you didn't feel like it was a carbon copy, or?
It wasn't exactly a carbon copy, near enough, but they did add a valuable part to the film,
which I'll get to later on, I presume, as we talk through.
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously we know the main story anyway of Aladdin.
Everyone practically knows. Case in point, why did they have to do this? But
well, why does any Disney film do a remake?
Tell you why.
Go on.
Money, 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 money. So, right off the bat, on the credits, the first name comes up, first billing is Will Smith. So, what does that say about how much of faith they have in the thing? They have to put his name first.
Well, would they normally? I can imagine.
Normally, you'd put the lead characters first, i.e. Aladdin. That it's not the genie film, is it?
No, but I'd be interested to see if Robin Williams' name was first.
Yes, but the film is called The Genie, though.
No, but I'm meaning on the original Aladdin, it'd be interesting to see if that was the case, because they normally put if there's a bigger star.
Not necessarily.
Sometimes they do. It'd be interesting to see, really.
If they've got really big, heavy hitters, they normally put them in the list of the other characters' names. Actors' names. And then they go with and like Samuel Jackson or something, like well established.
Well, to be honest, the only person who was well known in this film was Will Smith. Everybody else, you didn't know who they were, or I didn't.
No, I can't say I didn't either. That's the now. But anyway, that's one thing. So on a point of knowing what the original animated film is all about, it feels like it's relying a bit too much on the original.
But isn't that what any Disney...
No, let me finish. But for the fact of the introduction to the Cave of Wonders and introduction to Jafar, rushed. There's no context if you hadn't seen if you knew nothing about if you were seeing this for the first time, like who's this character? Why is he in there? What's this cave all about? Remember in the first...
He gets caught.
Who does? Who gets
Aladdin? Caught? You mean the introduction? Or you mean just Jafar in general?
No, remember in the first film, he gets that little scarab beetle thing.
Oh, yes.
The whole thing of him finding the cave, because he's been searching for years and whatever he says. That's way more built up, isn't it?
Well, I think Jafar in general is actually scarier in the original Disney film.
Oh, by far, yeah, by far.
But yeah, no, I forgot about that. It does have the basic storyline.
Yeah, but to add further to that, it's like this is a longer movie than the original one. This is like half an hour
longer
than the thing, and yet it doesn't have time to explain this is the Cave of Wonders, this is Jafar. None of that. It's relying too much on...
The genie.
No. It's relying too much on you knowing what the original, which is far superior.
I'll agree with you on that. It is far superior. But I think, to be honest, if you were going to go watch Aladdin, you will have already watched the first one. That's just, it's like any remake. And as well, if you're a child, that part of knowing about Jafar and that beetle is irrelevant. They're not even going to... I think they've made it more milder and meeker for this generation. It seems that any Disney film, when I was a lot younger, to be honest, was scary. You've always had your baddie, and they were bad, and you would be afraid of them.
Well, there's no way you could be afraid of Jafar in this film, because he's absolutely awful. He's not intimidating at all. He's so bland, and just he looks too young to be, like you said before about him looks more intimidating. He's got the long face, and the way he looks comes across like an older, more
creepy,
yeah, personality. But that's down to character design. But
as well, the voice of Jafar in Aladdin, in the original Aladdin, I remember him being a lot deeper, a lot sterner.
Yeah, exactly. This guy is just so pathetic.
And you know the scene where Jafar is making Jasmine marry him?
Which one is this? Is this...
In the original.
Yes, okay. Right.
I feel like that's a little bit... On that point, I look at that part, and sometimes I think it's a horrible way of manipulating a young girl to marry an old man.
Mm-hmm. Whereas
you didn't get that vibe as much, because he was near enough the same, a little bit older, but not like her dad's age. He's like a younger-ish character for Jafar, and it just seemed a bit pathetic the way he was like, oh, you'll have to marry me now, and it's like, well, actually, he didn't feel as much of a threat in this one, I don't think, but I don't know if that's just
exactly.
Generation thing of where they seem to mild it down a little bit more nowadays. They focused more on women empowerment, I think.
Yes, there is definitely more highlight on that factor.
Which is coming from the basics of like Frozen and, is it Brave? And all that kind of new Disney genre, which is not new Disney, but it's like women empowerment, women don't need a man. Because back in my day when you had Cinderella...
Back in my day, you're not that old, though. Younger than me.
But still, it's like, it's a different generation. My Disney princesses needed a man to save them. They were like, oh, woe is me.
Oh, no.
My glass slipper's fallen off. I need to wait for my prince. And it was all to do with that, whereas nowadays it's not like that.
No, it's not.
I think they tried with this new adaptation to put that in, that Jasmine was a fighter more.
Sort of skipping ahead a bit based on that point, but I feel like the new song that they put in was a bit... You can obviously tell that this is done purely be a bit more PC with how things are these days. But
it was key for this movie, personally, with the culture of... There's a lot more women that have to go speechless within that kind of area and where it's kind of located. I think that is still more apt for today.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's not the case, but
I think it is a case of, because you're having this women empowerment, it was like, oh, we need to throw that in to make it a good Disney film. And actually, the original is just even better standalone than this one. But it is a chuck it in. But it does give you...
So even you admit it's a chuck in?
It is a chuck in, but it's a good chuck in because it's a case of, well, it is for women to stand up and kind of be brave, and it's culturally right.
But all that happened in that thing, because obviously initially, you knowing that what happens when she's singing this song,
mm-hmm.
because obviously she's with the guards and she's like, no, like shrugging them off, but then they'd like disappear as if like made them, as if like, oh, we've got magic powers or something, or what's this is obviously some sort of dream sequence, so it's all in her head that she's like, and she obviously starts walking towards the guard and everything, and starts like almost like scream singing at them, because she's like got tears in her eyes and like, this is supposed to be really emotional, but it's like, well, who you scream to the void almost, really, and then it cuts to like almost like, right, I'm going to turn around, which I feel like you could have just done that. You could have just have her go in that thing and then go, no, I won't be. You don't have to do a song about it. You could just do.
But Disney always do a song about it.
Yeah, but they had all the other songs that.
But this was a new song, wasn't it? And every other song we'd already heard, like Street Rat, you know, A Whole New World. You've got all your originals already there. This is your added one, which I get where you're coming from. The scene of the guards disappearing, but I think it's all in, like you're saying, it is in her head.
Well,
it's her
literally,
building that up of what she wants to say, and then going out and going, right, okay, actually, she's convincing herself in a sense. I feel like she has a voice and she should be able to say what she thinks and not go speechless.
Yeah, so that's where some of the time went in this film.
I think that was a value add one. I don't think it was a disadvantage. I do think the reason why they put it in probably makes it a little bit, disintegrates the value of it, of why they've added it in.
So I mean, it's just, I don't.
But
you could have done without, and it wouldn't have made a difference. But I know it's another song. But I can't remember how the song goes, to be honest.
I could sing it to you.
You don't need to, but
no, but a little girl. It's brilliant marketing because a little girl would sing that, just like I think they tried to do it like the Let It Go kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's like I won't go speechless, and singing it out. Mm-hmm. I think that's what they're trying to kind of get the merchandise and the marketing for that.
And then you got the other songs, which I feel like it's going to be a lot of like, well, comparing to the things, they're not as strong as they were from the original. I feel like a lot of them, I'm pretty sure they were. A lot of auto-tune going on with some of these as well.
I'm not sure. I'm never good at noticing that, to be honest.
Make it make it sound better than it is, it's because to correct it, because they're not trained professional singers.
Well, I think with the original Aladdin, you had the actresses and actors, or
voice actors, yeah.
And then you actually had singers.
Yeah, I think.
So they hired in professional singers.
Or maybe you were lucky enough to have a person who...
I'm pretty sure they were hired in. And that's the case of probably they've kept these actors and actresses voiceovers and let them do the songs as well. Yeah. I do think there were certain things when I was watching it back that I knew, Paul will definitely not like Jafar. Paul will definitely not like the parrot.
Oh, yeah. He had naught to do on this, did he? He was literally just a parrot. Yeah. Just go thing. He's like, where's I know it'd be pretty stupid because of the way he's a realistic parrot. He's not going to be doing like wisecracks like Iago was in the first one or anything. I'm not saying that, but it's just
he was not. He did do a couple because obviously it's a parrot, so it can speak. But it still wasn't as funny. I think just Jafar and...
Yeah. It was almost like what I noticed a fair few times. Anytime there was like a big plot point of, like someone revealing some like secret thing, then shortly after you saw a shot of Iago, the parrot, flying off to tell Jafar what's been happening. As if
tittle-tailing.
Yeah, exactly. It's like nearly every scene where something major things happen, you saw him flying off. And
yeah, he did.
I mean, the fact of... Well, you remember from the first one, the big battle at the end with the Jafar with his... he turns into a cobra, doesn't he?
Yes.
It's a big horrifying snake.
And he puts Jasmine in like a...
Yeah, an hourglass.
Yeah.
All that stuff. This one, he just makes him a giant parrot and chases him down the street. And it's like, how was that any more effective?
It's downgrading scary again.
Exactly, it's like,
to be honest,
that's terrifying. He's at this point, obviously jumping ahead, but obviously it's for the point we're making. At this point, he's the most powerful sorcerer in the world, and all he can muster up is, make my parrot bigger. Yeah,
well, to be honest, I'd go for the tiger.
Yeah, or something. Yeah.
That would be more fierce, and I'd get me little. What's that thing that he has that he's like? He hypnotises everybody.
Well, his staff. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, well, I'd get that on the tiger, put him against everybody. That would be scarier. But it is lacklustre in the scare factor. But I think that's just I'm blaming it on nowadays generation and such like that. They just kind of don't. Disney's aren't the same as they used to be.
No, that's true enough.
So I think that's the case. But like I thought, I liked Boo, but I feel like Abu's character didn't even come across that much in this one compared to the original.
No, again, he's not mischievous. He's just a monkey. He's
not the cheeky monkey that he was in the first one.
There's not a great deal to say about him because, as I say, he was just sort of there and he didn't do a great deal. He just looks like a monkey, and that's all I can say.
Even the carpet I used to love in the original film.
I mean, yeah, wasn't really the same as what he was. I mean, he had a fair bit of some oomph about him, probably more than the actual other characters, but even this, I feel like he's a bit subdued a little bit more.
Yeah, like pinching. I remember one part in the original Aladdin where I think the carpet kind of dusts off Abu's hat when they're in the cave.
Yeah.
And he puts it on like Abu's head and goes and dusts it off, and it's just little perks like that kind of.
This is what it's. Why have they done it? Because you can do so much more with the animation. There's more expressiveness, more personality to all the characters. It's more colourful. You can do so much more with it. Whereas you try and translate things like this to a live action state with CGI effects, and it just doesn't work as well. And the only way I can see that they tried to make it the effect of the energy of what the animation would have. There's well, you even pointed out in this time there's things where it's looked like it was sped up.
Yeah, especially the dancing.
Yeah, and it's like, why have they done it? It looks a bit weird. You can tell almost like that doesn't look natural, but even with it sped up, it didn't. It just looked like someone hit the fast forward button a little bit on the thing, and it's just like...
It was more with the dancing where their arms were flailing around, and it's like, what the heck is going on? There was a lot of rewinds.
Yeah, there's a actual rewind bit in the thing as well. Like when, about the wish.
Yeah.
His first wish, which he thinks, and he's like, rewind, and then goes to like a cinema screen, like, you sneaky. Whereas I think that a lot funnier in the first, because I remember it being like Genie's face being like, shocked, and then it's more funny when you see just that happening rather than do this little gag of rewind of watching exactly what happened.
Yeah, no, I know what you're meaning. I do think they tried to add stuff in like that to make it more unique, I guess, but some of it was a little bit like a hash job. Like initially when they first started the chase with Aladdin and Jasmine, there was like a lot of speeding, fasting up again. Yeah.
But there was no charm with any of that either, really. Like remembering, after Aladdin's got the food or whatever, and you see the kids in the alley, then think, give the food to them instead. In the animated one, you got obviously the like puppy dog eye kind of thing with the kids, and that's emotional weight to that. Whereas this, it's kind of just like, just some kids sat there and go, there you go. There's no substance to this that's drawing you in or anything. It's just
it's made more light-hearted, I believe. It's been stripped back to be something you just watch instead of actually a deeper meaning, which I think is a lot of what the Disney's seem to be for me nowadays. And I think that's what this is. I think your main focus is on your Genie and your Will Smith, and there's a lot of songs that...
Why are they two separate people?
You know what I mean? And I think the focus on the Genie a lot more, even though the Genie is a big part in the original Aladdin, don't get me wrong, but you have got other characters that you do
love. This is why, because of the fact that all the other characters were not as good or just bland.
So you're saying that the Genie was good?
No, I'm saying that Genie had to be centre stage of everything and be the sort of most interesting thing about the film because of the fact that everybody else was subpar the acting of everybody else. So
I feel like they spent all the money on Will Smith and they couldn't afford any other good actors and actresses.
Well, that's not to say that just got some dregs from No, I'm sure they've...
No, but they're not as well known as...
No, because maybe just they're starting out the careers and stuff.
No, but like, for example, The Lion King, didn't they, like, rope Beyonce into doing some singing? They had all these well-known names for Lion King. And for Aladdin, they just rope in one guy. So they've got the money, they can invest and put in. I know it's fair to give other people a chance, don't get me wrong.
If they're good enough, but I don't know who the other people who auditioned for Jafar were. They picked him.
His voice wasn't even scary. It was laughable. I knew when I watched it, it was like, Paul is going to hate this bit. And it's a case of...
I laughed as soon as I heard his voice. But
it wasn't intimidating whatsoever.
No. Another point I want to bring up is, I think this is a thing with Disney movies these days as well, about how everything either is a bit too dark and moody in some aspects. Lighting, I mean, not like dark themes. Although that can happen sometimes, but not so much in this. But the lighting's like, put some more lighting in your scenes, please. Can see what's going on. Or how everything's like clean, like like you're in a dusty environment, but you don't like scruffy, or it was like immaculate and it was all pristine.
Is that what you're saying? It was to say that they're in a
like
desert.
Clean and shiny. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's.
I think mainly, obviously, the palace is going to be spotless, anyways. That would be correct in saying so.
Yeah.
But more when Aladdin is going through Agrabah, and then when you see where Aladdin is actually living, you would think that would have a bit more rustic kind of edge to it. Even like his clothes didn't seem that mega dirty.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Yeah. It's like you live in, on the streets, you don't look that scruffy.
No.
That's what I mean. So it's like, I feel like a lot of the environments didn't feel real at all. They kind of just CGI'd them, and then they were just in a studio, and what things were actually physically there that they were.
And to see where you're coming from, and maybe that might be another thing for the acting, because it's like, well, actually, if you're there and you can kind of visualise a scene a bit better than just like a green screen kind of thing, it is easier to act and kind of get into that role a bit better. But I didn't notice that, if I'm honest.
No, I know, like things like the desert and stuff, they wouldn't really have shot it in a desert.
No.
That would just be.
But I didn't even think of that. If that's daft of me, I just took it for what it is. But I actually enjoyed Will Smith. Let's just bring this back round.
Okay.
To being a genie. However, you cannot compare him to the original genie.
No, you can't.
It's two completely different takes on the genie. So everyone's got a soft spot for Robin Williams. However, the way his comedic style, no one could ever compete with that.
All his riffs and stuff that he did with everything, there's no way.
Like, kind of, I think of it as like what's his name from Liar Liar?
Jim Carrey.
Yeah, I think of it like a Jim Carrey kind of thing. He is naturally just a funny person. He can ad-lib, and it is just hysterical, basically, what he does. And you've got them kind of people who are just generally a funny person. However, Will Smith
isn't a funny person.
He's not in that area. He's completely a different person. It's like comparing a biscuit to a chocolate bar. They're two different things.
Yeah.
Both are good in their own right.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't say which was better, because both of them are different.
Yeah, but you could definitely say which one you prefer, couldn't you?
Now, I think I know which one I prefer, but is that because of my time and my era of when I grew up?
Now, here's a point I'll bring up about me. I don't know what age you first saw Aladdin, but I'm not even saying this as I was watching it when I was like 5 years older, and I was quite late in the day when I watched Aladdin, so maybe
Really?
Teens, yeah.
I'm surprised, because I'd have thought that would have been a typical... both a boy and a girl kind of one to watch, because Aladdin is more your main character.
Yeah, I saw other Disney films before I got around to seeing Aladdin, but
I know I was a lot younger than that. I was like...
So what I'm saying is I'm not like being a sort of nostalgia child about it, like, oh, because I saw this when I was 5 years old, it's never going to be a thing. So on the reflection of I've seen it, and I was at an age where I could easily understand what I was watching and embracing it a bit more, rather than just like being a child like, ooh, pretty colours kind of thing.
Mm.
So there's not, I haven't got that a strong attachment to it as somebody who absolutely slate this film.
Well, to be honest, I have the nostalgia of Aladdin. I watched it when I was a lot younger than in my teens. I'd have been like when you normally watch a Disney film, when you're a lot younger. So I do have fond memories of watching it. However, I do remember when I was little being a bit scared of it as well. But going back to the genie, they have modernised the genie.
Yeah, made him more street.
Yeah, and I'm not going to lie, for the time and everything like that, it does work. I think probably it's been more modernised.
Certainly, CGI will definitely be out of date.
True. But then, you're always going to go with the original anyways. It's a no-brainer.
Exactly, this is what I'm saying.
But that's in the case of, I believe, somebody come to me and say, oh, we've remastered every Disney film. Anyone would not say, oh, well, actually, hands down, the remastered version is better. It never happens. So why do they do it? Also, it's the same as with the Star Wars. Oh, we'll make another one. Oh, this is when it started. This is where it, ends. And it's like back to front. And it's just money.
The only difference I'll give with Star Wars is I know it's not trying to... in some ways, it may try some of the same beats from the original Star Wars but it's not trying to do exactly like, right, this is the source material from the first... Not trying to make Empire Strikes Back exactly the same again, but with just better effects and all that stuff.
That is a valid point, and it's very true. However, do we really need to know what the beginning of that film was? Because that film, to be honest, wasn't even written, that beginning bit, until they decided, oh, actually, everyone loves Star Wars, that's a brilliant idea, let's write a made-up beginning. It wasn't there in the beginning anyways to be even made. So it's like, you had your beginning when you started the film. So that annoys me anyways. So any remastered film is never going to be great. You just can't compare. It's just... So I get where you're coming from with that. But to take the film on its own and not compare, it's a solid film. There's nothing wrong with it. I did enjoy it.
Right, okay.
I think Will Smith was the best part of this. I couldn't slate his performance of the genie.
Okay.
If you put aside the original Aladdin.
Right. It's just really hard to get past that being the problem, because there's already been something that was perfectly fine as it was. That's not going to date in terms of the animation, because that still looks good. You just make high def, which just makes the colours and everything look a lot sharper and smoother. So, but that won't age that badly compared to this in 10 years' time. So that'll still look as good as it did from when it was made in 1990, whatever it was.
Yeah, whatever it was.
Oh, well, not about cringy bits. How you hate cringe? Well, a couple of bits in that with that happened in the film, I thought. Like the whole thing with the handmaiden pretending to be the princess.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, look, my castles and the palaces, and it's like, oh, come on. What's that all about?
That didn't bother me, which I'm surprised, because I absolutely hate cringe. But it was not... It was more like you could tell it was put on anyways. It was more for the laughs. It wasn't that...
I wasn't laughing. Well, you weren't laughing, so...
No, but I can imagine somebody might laugh at that. Or a younger...
Oh, gosh. Right, yeah, so there's that. The other bit. Running gag about jams.
No, I thought they were saying yams initially.
Doesn't make it any less... any more funny.
I know, but then I realised it was actually like jam.
Yes, as in jam, like a jam jar of strawberry jam.
Strawberry jam, yeah. Which I did... It was to say that this Agrabah was made up and had to be... I think...
Well, no. Agrabah isn't made up.
No, what is it? Alabama?
Oh, that was another thing as well.
What?
Not Zimbabwe, no.
What was it?
Ababwa, which was made up by Genie saying, mumbling something. It's like, you're Prince of and like, what? And that's the prequel origin of where that came from. We need to know that information, don't we? Where it's just the name came up by just him mumbling some words.
Figuring out where he was coming from. Well, we've just mumbled a couple of words to try and figure out what it was actually meant to be.
Well, yeah, properly, but... What was your point, sorry?
The map scene of trying to find blah blah, and it doesn't even sound like it an original, but I know that's, even on the old version, that's what it's called. But like that scene where they're like, oh, and he's like, I'm not sure where it is, and then he's like, oh, it's there, and then it magically appears. There is some cringe-worthy scenes, but I don't think they're as bad as some I've experienced where it just makes you go like...
No, but it's just like, oh, just like even Genie saying, enough about the germs now. It's kind of like, yeah, it's exactly. It's run of it. Everyone's just saying, germs. Then and it comes back several times, I think. Later on it says as well. It's like...
I think as well, it's got good principle behind the story though, hasn't it? Showing that you don't have to be, not about jams.
Principle, right, go on.
Just like that, you have to be yourself. But it had that, I think that story came across stronger in the original, that you can't pretend to be somebody you're not. Just be your true self.
Stronger than in the animated one?
Yeah, massively.
Than this one?
Mhm.
Right, okay. So that's another plus for the original then.
Obviously, I'm not saying that I preferred this over the original, not by far. But in its own right, I have enjoyed it. And I think you were surprised because you were slagging off like how badly Will Smith would be in this. You'd got it in your head that it was going to be completely rubbish. And I think personally it probably did surprise you a little bit more. Like, you didn't absolutely hate Will Smith being the Genie. You thought you were going to despise him being the Genie.
I never said that. I just knew it wasn't going to be anything in comparison to, like you say, Robin Williams. It's not going to be a fair comparison. It's that I can get past as mainly down to how you translate CGI visuals in comparison to 2D animation where you can stretch and bend and morph into whatever effectively, and it looks a lot better. It comes across a lot stronger.
But that's not down to his acting or his singing or any
his singing's
skills.
It's not cracking. As I say, auto-tune.
Do you think really? But he can sing, can't he?
He can rap in quotation.
What about the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
That's a rap. That's not really sing.
He's known as a singer though. I enjoyed it. I thought I liked the little bit of hip Genie.
But like in the, where is it? The singing about Prince Ali.
I thought that was really good actually.
Did you?
Yeah. The different take on it.
It's a different take. How exactly?
The rapping and the slowing it down at the end.
Oh, you mean the bit where it's like, oh, I'm not going to carry on until you do the...
Yeah.
I thought it was, what, is this a concert or something?
But then
Come on, got to get down on the floor. Oh, we're not going to...
Carry on.
Do the drum solo for...
But it was good once it...
No. It wasn't a thing. They didn't move around a great deal. You got all the other dancing people, whatever, going on. And I noticed how Genies and Aladdin are kind of just sat there doing this, looking around or whatever, not doing a great deal.
Also, my question was, I thought Aladdin came in on the elephant, like sat on the elephant, or there was like this little hut thing on the elephant.
Yeah.
It wasn't, it was on like this flowered camel thing.
I know.
Chucking money at people. But yeah, no, I actually thought that was quite a good, different adaptation on it. Modernised. Just stuck in your old grumpy man ways.
I guess so. But that's how I feel about it, really. It's just not...
So, would you watch it again?
Nope. No, I would not. Everything in this, I'm like, I'd rather be watching the animated one and I'd get a lot more enjoyment out of it 10 times over.
So, if we forgot about the original...
You can't, though.
No, but let's just put that in a box for a minute.
Right.
It's never existed. It's never happened. And try and watch this as an original film.
It's not, though.
Would you still...
It isn't...
Would you still not watch it again?
I don't think I would, you know.
Really?
No, because...
Or is it because you know what you could have? So it's like one of those things where it's like you're in a sweetie shop and it's like, oh, instead of buying...
Well, yeah, I guess so, but there's not going to be... Because we know that's out there, it's really difficult to, say, separate that from that, because there's always going to be, I know what the better version is.
I agree with you, don't get me wrong, but you just think you need to give it its own fairness to it, really.
Yeah,
Just a bit...
I tried, but I
tried.
Well, I say I've sat through it and watched it now, so
How do you think I feel?
No.
Sat through and watched it, Sophie. It was rubbish.
I'd rather me do that than say, oh, I'm not going to watch this, it's going to be rubbish, and be totally ignorant.
Well, you said, to me, oh, why the hell are you even paying for that? You know.
Well, yeah, we would watch this on Now TV, where we got some
it's like, unless I'm
trial of it, so it's like, well, I haven't technically paid for this, I've not put money into the Disney bank.
Many people do anyways.
Yeah, and then that's how these things keep getting made.
Yeah.
Because they think...
Some of them are good. Like, I really enjoyed Beauty and the Beast.
What, the remake?
Yeah. And I love Beauty and the Beast, and I really enjoyed that remake.
Have we watched that one all the way through?
I have.
I don't think I have, you know.
It's really good.
Well, from what I would think, I guess, again, another Disney animation I haven't seen till later on in life, and that I really, really enjoyed that one. And yet, from what I saw, what I remember, what I've seen of this other one is, again, it's like, what are you doing?
It's never going to have the charm of the original. It's never going to be the case because of the nostalgia of it, the way it's been done, the animation of it, obviously.
Yeah, right. I feel like maybe a way to improve it, potentially, if this was to be done from scratch and it's never existed.
Yeah, because they have that much money that they're going to redo it.
No, but it would... I don't know if you agree on me with this, but if it was done in a way like they've done all completely 3D animated, like they've done with Frozen, you know, where the characters are 3D people and the animals and all other are all within the 3D environment, rather than having actors, a live action thing with CGI monkeys and giant parrots or whatever. Do you think that would, where that existed, that would probably work better?
It would, but would it still have... It still have to have its twists, because otherwise you're just saying basically you're upgrading the old version into a 3D format.
Yeah, you could potentially have some of the same beats as what this one tried to do, but you could improve on it by having some of the expressiveness on the characters' faces, movements and all that stuff to bring it more to life a bit more. Don't know, but obviously that's not happened with this, so can't do anything about that, unfortunately. My only other couple of thoughts before we wrap up is maybe 2 points I can give it for something that I did like.
You actually liked them?
Yeah. A very, very small one being the actress who played Jasmine, Naomi Scott, I think her name is. That she did try the hardest, I think, in her performance.
Yeah, I do think she was one of the better actors and actresses. So, for example, with Jasmine's singing with the I Won't Go Speechless, I did, I know you're going to laugh, I did actually feel that part from her as a woman, and in like some sort of society sometimes that used to be the case.
Mm-hmm.
So I can understand and sympathise with that, and it did actually give me a little bit of goosebumps. I did feel that.
Okay. And the other point being element of like Bollywood dance. routines going in that.
Even though
That
they
was
did speed that up as well, didn't they, at one point,
at the
which
end,
looked a bit weird.
at the end credit bit, yeah.
But when they did the dance...
Initially with in the palace.
Yeah.
For the story, yeah. That was like, oh, that's a good traditional aspect to add to the film. But otherwise, that's pretty much it, unfortunately, really.
So now you've ripped the film to bits.
And the only other thing I'll say is, going back to, because you're saying about the Beauty and the Beast and thing with the other remakes and stuff that they've done so far. The only one that I've seen and thought, oh, that's a different take on it, and it sort of works, is Jungle Book.
I know you said that's really good, but I haven't actually seen that, so I can't...
No, at some point we can. So you've seen the original animated one as well, though, haven't you?
Yeah.
But that is different enough from that original animated one to stand on its own.
Is it a real life boy?
Yeah,
actor?
it's like everything else is, aside from the boy Mowgli, everything else is CGI. But it works because it's not. It's all seems to blend in effectively with the fact that it's all CGI animals and stuff. But they look fairly realistic, and it's not.
Seen The Lion King?
You mean this new one?
Mm.
Nope, I have not. I won't pay to see that either, unless I see it for free, and then I can think. But I know I'm gonna hate that more than I am gonna this one, because I definitely have much more of an attachment to that. That's like my favourite Disney film.
Well, I don't get how they can class it as live action because...
It's not. You can't class it as live action. It is CGI. There's no live action. Live action implies that there's a person involved against something that is a computer generated image. This is all computer generated image. There's no people in that film, so it's not live action.
What do you think they'll do next?
I think, I don't know if it's actually going ahead or not, but I'm sure I heard somewhere that they're doing Lady and the Tramp.
Oh, are there?
But
that's a little bit like Lion King, really. You've got some people in, like the owners, but they're not. The owners don't have big parts. Have you seen Lady and the Tramp?
Yeah, I've seen Lady and the Tramp. Yeah.
What do you think?
It's okay, but
I like Lady and the Tramp.
But I can't see how that's gonna.
It's not good. It's going to be kind of a similar case to the Lion King, I believe.
But imagine if, like, next thing, Aristocats.
I was just thinking that because
I don't see how that, because I've got such fondness of that and how the personality of the thing, how that would come across as working.
Oh, Ricky Ticky Ticky.
Yeah, there wouldn't be as it probably wouldn't. They might make it photorealistic cats, but they just wouldn't.
I'd love it. I would have to watch it just because I love cats and I love the Aristocats. It's one of my favourites.
Yeah, that'd be interesting if that ever happened and you'd be like, oh, this is rubbish. I'd laugh.
If they didn't capture the characters, then it would be tricky.
Yeah. So that's my thoughts, and
You just basically ripped it to pieces.
Yeah.
I don't think I've been as bad as a critique as you. I'm more fair.
Yeah, there'll be some point at something that you'll be like, you'll have some points to make about something that you...
I think the only one was Borat, but that was because it's absolutely rubbish. So I'm really worried about this because I think you're going to really give it a low score. And I don't think it's worth what you're going to give it. So what would you rate it as? Is it higher than a 5?
Nope.
Oh, anything below a 5 is mean. Go on.
Number 4.
Number 4. That's not too bad. I was waiting for you to go 2.
No, I think that's a bit too harsh to give it that something that low. It's not like that's almost like unwatchable levels of things. It's not unwatchable, but it's just I don't normally give films a scoring that low, but it's not worth taking it any lower than that, because, as I say, it's not like it's absolutely unbearably, I can't stand this watching
Well,
this.
you seem to be able to
Get through it, but only, like I say, I've no desire to ever return to watching that again if it was thing, unless it was like drunkenly watching it or something like more.
You have to be like incompetent to actually rewatch it again.
Sorry,
is that
what?
Incompetent. Oh no, that's
What,
not right.
intoxicated is
yes.
the word you're looking for. Well, you might be incompetent if you enjoy this film, but I don't know. But that's what I think. It's just not for me. I don't think Mr. Guy Ritchie, who directed this, should be doing these kind of things. He seems more effective doing what I know him for as more like action dramas kind of things, I guess you call them.
For example?
If I throw these names, you might not know them, but there's a film called like Snatch and Lock, Shock and Two Smoking Barrels kind of thing. Like,
yeah, you're right. I don't know.
No, but he did. I don't know if you've seen. Have you seen Sherlock Holmes?
Nope.
The one with Robert Downey Jr. in. You haven't seen that? No, that was quite a good one. But that
it will be. It's got Robert Downey Jr. in it.
But yeah, that's more his more successful ones.
Well, I
Go on.
would give it a bit of a higher score than your sorry excuse for a 4.
It's not a sorry excuse.
It is. It is. I would say.
It's my opinion.
It would be a 6 or a 6.5. I would rewatch it, and I would take it for what it is, and that would be it. It's light-hearted. It's not hard to watch. It has got a good picture to it. It is modern to the time.
Pictures in visuals. What?
Yeah, it's got good visuals to it. It's colourful. It has.
Except when it's dark.
I didn't get what you meant by that, to be fair. With it being dark. I thought, if anything, it was quite bright on some occasions. Like, it was over studio lighted.
Yeah, but then when you're like in the cave and when it was actually out in the dark.
Or like
outside.
In the cells and such.
Yeah.
Yeah, it somewhat was, but I'm guessing that's what they were trying to go for.
Sorry.
But I would say, if you were a child watching it, you hadn't seen the original, there would be some level of enjoyment from that.
Mm.
And a good go-to girl power for Jasmine, which I think was the best part of the film.
Okay.
Then Will Smith.
Right. But still think it didn't really need to be done. It's just simple fact of we can make money here on nostalgia. But
I agree with you completely. Every Disney remaster doesn't need to be done. Because, to be honest, when I have children, I will be showing them the originals anyways. I think any parent would show the original films. But it's also shows that Disney are struggling to think of new things, that they have to remaster everything.
Yep, there's no original ideas anymore. So let's just think on what can we market as the next thing that we can just do. The story's already done for us. Let's just churn this one out.
Yeah.
So, thank you for listening to what I had to say. I know it's a bit of a different one, but I kind of enjoyed going over my thoughts on it because I just wanted to get my thoughts out on that, really.
You even wrote notes as well. You're doing better than I did.
Well, it's not as difficult with this because everybody practically knows the story of Aladdin. It's not I have to go through bullet points of what happens in the thing and
true
stuff like that.
Because you've already seen. Most people have already seen.
Yeah,
the
and if you have
original.
any sense, you like the animated one more than this one. But it's down to you. If you like it, it's whatever. But there you go. Apologies if there's any coughing and spluttering in my voice. I'm still trying to get over this silly cough that we've got going on at the moment, but hopefully that was still audible of what we've recorded today. So
I actually enjoyed listening to your thoughts for once and kind of being the one to kind of go, well, actually, I think this, instead of me kind of being a bit more like, well, I think this is what I think's wrong with it, and then you've been like, really? So it's nice to see you own it a little bit more today.
Okay.
I think maybe we should add a couple more into...
Yeah, no, we'll try and squeeze these in now and again, but I think it's more your show in the sense of more your things, because there's a lot more things that you haven't seen than what I haven't seen. I know that's...
Or it'll be a me and you haven't seen together.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I kind of sat there quite smug because I knew what was coming. I was like, he's not going to like this bit. And I was kind of like chuckling to myself, knowing which bits are going to make you annoyed.
Yeah. And there was a lot.
Yeah. I could tell because you kept on pausing as well. It's like the longest viewing ever because you'd pause to write your notes of what was annoying you. And I was like, what's he writing?
So that's it for this time. If you like what you've heard and want to hear more from us, you can find us on Podbean and also on iTunes and Spotify.
So thank you so much for listening to Paul's thoughts on Aladdin. I know there'll be a lot of controversy of what people's thoughts are on this one, but we all have our opinions. Some are harsher than others. So make sure to stay tuned, as we're going to be doing these weekly anyways, and you'll have hopefully a kinder review next time.
Okay, so it's bye-bye for now.
Bye.
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 Bye bye.